Well, hello everybody to the IBM TV network. We're looking at the Olympics today, and of course, I have Ada, who's always been with us, who's also a professional volleyball player in real life, volleyball player at Duke University, and we are definitely going to be discussing the volleyball teams at the Olympics. Matter of fact, that'll probably be the first thing up. And part of it is because I actually got to watch the volleyball matches last night.
Wow.
Yeah. And it was actually pretty exciting. And also today we're going to discuss some basketball. So we get to discuss everything I watch. Basketball. Yeah. And of course, there's also some highlights, some very hot news that's taking place. So Ada, I'm going to turn over to you to find out what's the hot news that we're looking at the Olympics today.
Well, the hottest news, as most people have heard, is that Simone Biles is withdrawing from the team finals, still up in the air whether she will compete in the individual. And as we reported yesterday, it was from injury, but upon further investigation and upon further comments from Simone Biles herself, it is actually because of mental health issues and taking time to have self-care on herself and the self-care of her teammates. She believed it was best for her to withdraw from the team trials. And our heart goes out to her, and our heart goes out to one of the best gymnasts this world has seen. And we just hope that she does compete in the individuals and does very well in those.
Wow, yeah, I thought that was big news, but I also do certainly understand that because when she went off the vault, she stumbled a little bit. Okay, and here's just my thinking of it. You lose a little bit of your self-confidence while you're doing something like that. The last thing you want to do is do a triple somersault in the air, trying to land on your feet. And if you miss, what happens, Ada, if you miss in gymnastics?
Gymnastics and low-key any other sport, really. It's just once you get into that hole of self-doubt, it's very, very hard to get out of there. And I think Simone Biles did the best thing for her. It was just exiting from the situation, because if you keep trying to push with that negative mindset, it's just going to make everything worse, and then you're going to snowball into this ball of nerves and anger and confusion and frustration, which benefits no one, especially not her team and especially not US.
Yeah, well, and that's what I saw too. In other words, the thing is the self-doubt. Now the thing is, we're bringing it down to an individual level. Yourself, okay, since you do play volleyball, do you ever run into that situation where you actually have self-doubt? In other words, you're going like, man, I can't hit anything. This ain't going to happen. I got to get out of here. Do you ever have that experience, Ada?
Any athlete will tell you that competing at the highest level of your sport is the most grueling activity that you can even participate in, because there are times when you're like, wow, do I even play volleyball? Do I even know what I'm doing? And it's that inner self-talk that gets so negative at times, and that's why you have to rely on the basics, rely on what you know is to be true, rely on what you're good at, and to push through those times, because those times will come inevitably. Yeah. And so for everyone.
Yeah, and she didn't have her support group with her and the crowd behind her. And, the thing is, all those intangibles make a difference because it keeps uplifting you. Instead, it was like dead silence, you and nothing. And so the thing is, I can see that could be a very difficult situation. But now that we're on volleyball, let's go to the U.S. versus China. I actually got to watch that match. What a great match that was. China competed very admirably against the United States. But tell us what your thoughts are about the U.S. versus China.
Well, first of all, China did compete very admirably, but they were having some hiccups. They lost to Turkey right before they played the U.S. And I just want to give a big shout out to a good friend of mine and an amazing volleyball player. We played against her 2 years ago at Cincinnati. Jordan, the outside, she got over 30 plus kills in that game. She's an amazing person, an amazing volleyball player. And it's just awesome to see such a young girl my age competing in the Olympics and doing such a good job. And whoa, she just brings it home, and it's amazing to see them play.
Yeah, I thought that was a really great match. The U.S. Responded quite well, and it was tight all the way through till the end. And then at the end, the U.S. just like pulled ahead and then won the match. They did that like 3 times, and all of a sudden, hey, we won the match 3-0. Well, it looked like a lot closer than a 3-0 match when you're like 18 and 18 going in 19 and 19. I mean, so this, hey, we won. I'm going like, yeah, you did, but man, I mean, you really had to pull it out. And some of the moves that they made, in other words, being able to stop that ball were absolutely amazing. So,
So amazing.
by the way, is that what you do also? You jump
All the
down on the
time.
floor and stop that?
All the time. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, volleyball players fight with the floor. We, because that's our only job is not let the ball touch the floor. If anything doesn't go right, that's all you have to do. Get that ball up, get it in the air so somebody else can kill it.
Yeah, and the thing is, I like the idea of a kill,
Yeah.
And the thing is, what was it? Thompson, one of those players, was just making
Mhm.
some amazing kills. I mean, the Chinese would jump up, two of them like that, and just go whack right through their arms. Every now and then she got stuff, but for the most part, she was able to really hammer it through. And I just love to watch those kills.
That's not only on strength, that's also on smartness and having a high volleyball IQ. Because if you have a block like China up against you, hitting straight into it is not going to be the how to get points. You have to be strategic. You have to hit around them. You have to hit through them. You have to hit line. You have to hit over them. So Jordan Thompson was an amazing example of how you can be strategic on the outside while still putting power behind the ball. And it was amazing to watch her play.
Yeah, I thought it was just a really, really a great game, a classic U.S. China versus volleyball. And unfortunately, though, the thing is during the Olympics, they show volleyball that then during the rest of the year, volleyball doesn't get a lot of love, which compared to like football and basketball, I still don't see why it doesn't. Ada, you're going to have to explain that to me sometime, why it doesn't get the coverage, because I like watching volleyball. Honestly, I like watching volleyball better than baseball. I think baseball relative to volleyball is boring. Yet
Exactly.
baseball gets a big following. I'm going like, but volleyball is a lot more interesting. In other words, intense, the kills and all that other stuff.
Exactly.
But
Yelling. Oh my gosh. I'm a very cool, calm, cool, collected person, like off the court. On the court, it's a different story. Like, off the court, very I get all that energy out. In talking about volleyball, there's actually set four right now happening live between Italy and Japan, with Italy up 2-1. And the men's for the USA volleyball, actually no, the setter's sister, the setter's brother for the men's team, they won against Tunisia 3-1. And today in the men's tournament, we have Russia competing against Brazil, and actually in 10 minutes at 8:45. And then also today, Argentina won against France for the men's. And then today at 8 p.m., we have Italy versus Argentina, which would be a good game. The outside for Italy is amazing. We all know who she is. And tomorrow, the United States is facing Turkey in the last of pool play at 8:45 a.m. So it should be a good day.
wow, yeah, it looks like we're having a pretty good lineup. But yesterday, I want to bring on another subject near and dear to my heart, but also possibly your heart. And let's go take a look at it. It's called USA versus Nigeria in women's basketball. Okay. Now, if you followed this game, the first quarter, that Nigeria was winning. They were basically dominating the United States. If you could dominate, well, not dominating, but they were definitely the better team the first quarter. And I thought, well, Brittany Griner, where are you? Well, you're underneath the basket, but you're not doing anything. Then you look at Sue Bird, well, your outside shots aren't falling in. There are other players. Nothing. They were trying to do 3-point shots, and they were missing every one of them. It reminded me a lot of what happened with the USA men's team trying to do these 3-point shots, and they were just missing them. And I can tell you, because when I played a lot, I used to play 3 times a week. I was 3-point specialist. I mean, because I was too slow to do anything else. But I go out there and shoot the 3, and it's like if you can shoot the 3 and you can make it a lot, you have to have a high percentage. Then you're good to go. Once your percentages go off, then all of a sudden the team doesn't even want you around anymore. You're out. And when you play on different courts, there's a different feel for the 3-point shot. So they're on an international court, a new court. And don't ask me why, because it's supposedly the same size, rim, etc. But for some reason, when you play on different courts, shooting your 3 can be off or on. So yesterday, the U.S. was playing Nigeria. They're going out hitting the 3. Well, they weren't hitting the 3. I don't know what their stats were, but their stats were probably pretty bad the first quarter. And then they were behind. And I thought, well, this could be another upset because Nigeria looked like the better team. And what are your thoughts about? Well, then we'll get to the next three quarters, which was a different story. Did you happen to see the game? US
I did. Yeah, I watched it with. I actually was back and forth with my mom watching it, and I mean, we all know the outcome of the game. Like, but that's the thing, especially with a lot of the Nigerian players are young players, and a lot of the U.S. players are older, more experienced, have played the game for a long time, are in the WNBA, and so for a team like U.S. who is more experienced, in the first quarter we see them kind of having a slow start, kind of getting their bearings, like you said, getting used to the court, getting used to how they can operate to their best abilities on such court. But unlike Nigeria, once they figure that out, okay, then the tables are turned. Then it's going like we're not playing around anymore. Whereas Nigeria, it's fast, 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 not really figuring out where exactly they stand on the court, and thus also getting tired in the process, trying to have that intensity for the whole game. While the U.S. team obviously relying on players like Brittany Griner and Sue Bird, who have this experience, who know the game like the back of their hand, um, to pull it through for the United States.
Yeah, and the thing is, Sue Bird passing to Brittany Griner made a big difference underneath. In other words, they finally, when the transition game came, their guards showed up, and of course they had the 39-year-old guard coming out and playing, and it just showed the difference. What we said, the age and experience made a difference, and also they started moving toward the transition game rather than 3 points because they were dying in the 3-point line. Any coach would say, cut it out. Okay, you guys are cold. I can't tell you why. It could be the atmosphere. It could be the rim. It could be the way the basket's positioned. Believe it or not, it could be the background when you're shooting. Okay, and all of a sudden you're going, but doesn't matter. You're cold on the 3 points. When Baylor beat Gonzaga, for those who watched that game at the U.S. National Champions, Baylor was hot from the 3-point line. They were shooting over 60%. You do that, Gonzaga was like 30%. They just get killed. And the USA, I don't know even if they were shooting 10%. I mean, they were really, really cold on the 3-point line. So when they moved to the transition game, then all of a sudden things picked up and the USA won. But because of the parity that we're seeing internationally, are the USA women's team, you get to make your prediction. Are they going to win basketball and get the gold? Ada.
Well, I mean, let's see about the standings. So in the Group B, where USA is, they are number one in their standings, along with Japan. They both have a PR of 100 with winning both of their games. But then we also have Serbia and Spain in Group A, and China and Belgium in Group C. So, I mean, to be honest, United States looks like they're doing their due diligence and winning when they're supposed to, especially for women's basketball. But we still have top contenders ready to take them down, especially China and Spain. Big, huge girls who know the game as well as the United States does. And so there should be some good games coming up.
Yeah, I think U.S.-China is going to be good because Brittany Griner, who sits at 6'8", 6'9", is going to go against another center in China that sits at 6'8", 6'9". And that's what we find is very interesting when all of a sudden they match up a little different. But I still think the USA is going to pull it out, win the gold, only because of the experience they have. And they showed that on the Nigeria game. They were able to transition into a different form of game, give up the 3-point, go for the attack, and they killed it. After that. So I think they're going to, what they call settle down, get used to the court. So my prediction is they will actually win the gold in the women's basketball. Now we can go to the men's basketball.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts about the men's basketball? We have losses against Nigeria, France, Australia, and I think we beat Iran yesterday, right?
Yeah, we did.
So what are your thoughts about the men's team?
Well, I mean, there's actually a live game right now between France and the Czech Republic, with France leading 51-40. But for the USA men's, I mean, it's been a rocky road, definitely. It has helped that we've beaten Iran 120-66, and unfortunately, too, Nigeria did lose to Germany 99-92. So we're seeing an an upward trend for the United States and a slightly downward trend for Nigeria. But to be honest, it's up in the air really for me when it comes to looking for who's going to win, who's going to get the gold for basketball for men's this year. I'm kind of flustered because a lot of teams have lost, a lot of teams have won. It's been an even keel throughout the whole thing, really.
Yeah, see, I think Australia will either Australia or Serbia will take it, and I don't think the U.S. I think the USA is going to stumble this year for the first time. Part of it is the jet lag, and the players aren't playing together in a long time. The Milwaukee Bucks guy was going, "Well, I just flew 6,000 miles, and now I got to get on the court." Talk about jet lag. I mean, it's really, really hard. So, because they just finished their NBA season, and you're also playing with a team and teammates that you haven't played before. In other words, it's not like they spent a lot of time playing together, getting to know the other players and where to throw and what to do. The 3-point was off. They showed that against Nigeria, their 3-point. And if you can't be saved by the 3-point line, you got to be saved by a team effort. I don't see them winning. I see Australia winning or Serbia winning the gold and maybe in the silver. The USA may be as far as down as the bronze, only because they're just not there yet. It'll take a while for them to play as a team. So anyway, it's kind of a negative prediction, but it is what it is. I think the women's are going to win, but I think the men's are going to stumble this year. So.
Unfortunately.
Okay, so what do we have on the other sports? What do we have on? Those are basketball and volleyball. We still have swimming and we still have gymnastics. What's going on those two?
Let's see. Let's go look into gymnastics with the men's all-round individual actually leading right now live. We have the ROC leading for that. And then we also have gold. The Russian Olympic Committee got gold yesterday in the women's artistic team all around. And then tomorrow we have the women's individual all around, which hopefully we will see Simone Biles compete in. But it seems like Russia has been taking a lot of the medals. They took another gold for the men's artistic team all around. But Simone Biles, on July 25th, she took the first place for the women's vault. And then the final for the women's vault is going to be on Sunday, August 1st. And there's a lot to look forward to. There's a lot. They're taking a little break now between now and Sunday. That's when a lot of the gold medals are going to be given to the women's. But yeah, the men's, when it comes to gymnastics, ROC is taking the lead and taking most of the golds.
Yeah, and the ROC has been traditionally a very much of a powerhouse in gymnastics. For a year. So, and when they were the Soviet Union, they were next to impossible to beat because they were able to bring in the best athletes from the Ukraine, from Latvia, Lithuania, Estonia, and all the satellites, I guess, that they had that were part of the Soviet Union. Now it's the Soviet not-so-union, and they just have Russia. They still have a lot of land mass, and they still have a lot of people, and they still have the technology. So it's not surprising to see that they're taking medals in gymnastics. Now, what about swimming? How are we doing in swimming contests?
Well, the U.S. is doing great. Yesterday, Katie Ledecky took the gold in the women's 1,500 meter freestyle. Yesterday, also as well, we had Australia take the gold in the women's 200 freestyle. We also have Japan take the gold in the women's 200 meter individual medley. But we did have USA coming in again to take the gold first place in the women's 100 meter freestyle with Dressel coming in with that. But yeah, so Katie Ledecky obviously showing her stuff, showing what she's made of, and showing that the U.S. is going to be as top contenders when it comes to swim and dive. We have a total of 16 medals, putting us in first place for the medal tally for specifically swim and dive, with 4 golds, 5 silvers, and 7 bronzes in a lot of events. So yeah.
Yeah, and see, in swimming, other than Olympics, doesn't get much love during the rest of the year. So at least at the United States level, we just don't see much on swimming. See, I think volleyball could be an elevated sport. ESPN decided to elevate, I don't know if you know that, they decided to elevate lacrosse. That was one of their big things. I saw that. I was going like, hey, and I like lacrosse. I went to the University of Denver, has a good lacrosse team. Okay, so I do like watching lacrosse, but I still to this day don't know why ESPN ignores volleyball. It's all of a sudden like, hey, dude, you got a great sport here and you're ignoring it. But it is what it is. Swimming in the United States, other than Michael Phelps doing well in the Olympics, which was pretty good. Ledecky doing really well in the Olympics, which is good. It's a very difficult sport to monetize. In other words, if you're good at swimming, your exposure is really the Olympics, and outside the Olympics, not very much. In other words, not very much where to go. Well, let's go to another sport, softball. Okay, how are we doing in the softball area? What
I
are we
mean,
looking at here?
well, the U.S. is doing pretty well, I would imagine, in softball. I mean, baseball and softball, as they're returning to the Olympics, they were out of the Olympics for the last games, but they came back because Japan is a baseball crazy area, and but won't be back for the Paris games in 2024, but they could make it in the Los Angeles games in 2028. But with softball results, ooh, having some technical difficulties over here. It's just not pulling up these results. But I do know that the United States is doing well when it comes to softball. And we're not doing the best when it comes to baseball. It looks like Japan is leading in that area.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, well, during baseball season, it's tough to get your best baseball players over. So, but there's actually another sport that's played internationally that I'm shocked that they see some of these sports. I'm shocked they make them Olympic sports only for the reason why they got enough exposure throughout the year, not in the Olympics. In other words, why do you do this? These people make a lot of money anyway. But there's another sport that that's coming up, and it's called golf. What are we doing here in the area of golf?
Yeah, I mean, golf is coming up, and to be honest, I have one of my friends actually plays golf here, and he's very excited to see what they have in store and what if the USA can. There's actually been some hiccups before the actual games. Two of the golf players competing for the US had to leave because they tested positive, but we do have for COVID-19. But we do have rounds coming in tonight at 6:30 p.m. We have the men's individual first round and second round, which should be fun. And then their gold medal round would be taking place on Saturday. And the women's rounds, first and second, will be taking place on Tuesday and Wednesday, August 3rd and August 4th. So we're still waiting for results. They are warming up, getting their best foot forward, trying to, do well on the green, but that should be a very good to watch. And going back to softball, actually, just to clarify, Japan did win against the United States with the softball game, winning 2-1, cinching the gold. And in the bronze medal game, Canada did win against Mexico 3-2. So for softball, it looks like the girls competed well, but Japan came back on top, and really cinched it for their home country.
Wow. And then, of course, we do have some new countries that have just won their first Olympics. I believe Bermuda had their first Olympic gold medalist ever. And so the thing is, that's quite a record that took place a couple days ago, which just to bring people up to date, that I thought that was pretty fantastic. And then COVID-19, which we're going to be discussing later on the IBM TV channel. It's a hot topic. On World Edition starting at 10 o'clock. COVID-19 has hit the golf world that Rahm, who's one of the top players in the world, had to withdraw from Spain. Yeah. His second time he got COVID-19 and got bounced from a tournament. So is COVID-19 having an impact even today on the Olympics? Do we see that taking place right now?
We do. I mean, to be honest, we see it taking place not even at the Olympics, but here at home with the new Delta variant that is even more deadly, even more spreadable. And even we see people, I mean, not to be fear mongering, but we see people with the vaccine testing positive for COVID-19 and not having deadly results, not having deadly symptoms, but still having a cough, still having a headache. And because they're testing positive, they can be spreaders. So they are getting eliminated from many of these games. Duke actually just sent out an email informing all students and staff that their masks are now to be mandated to be worn indoors, regardless of vaccination status. And so it looks like going into the fall and winter time, not only Japan, but the whole world having to deal with this Delta variant has to put on our mask. And so We're not with this
Yeah,
pandemic.
yeah, or get vaccinated, because the thing is, the vaccines, at least the data that we have coming in, the vaccines work,
Yeah.
at a high degree, of level for people that take the vaccine, and the people that don't. And there's a lot of reasons why, because they see the data too. Well, if you're younger, you're not going to die, chances are, and you have a big immune system. And I remember when I was under age 30, which now goes back, well, at least that and then some, that your immune system was pretty strong. And so the thing is, your thoughts of not taking the vaccines, and I didn't take vaccines until I hit my 30s, but when I started getting the flu and I was going year in, year out, it was not fun. Okay, but when you're younger, you do have a stronger immune system that protects you, but it doesn't protect you against all viruses. And that's the reason people took the smallpox virus. It doesn't protect you against smallpox. You have a strong immune system. You get smallpox, and like I said, it wiped out the indigenous population in the United States. 75% of the indigenous population got wiped out. They had no immunity against smallpox. And there's other diseases like polio, and these are ones that we forget about because we've had vaccines for so long that this generation and of people, they don't remember that, how bad it was for people that would have polio, the people that would have smallpox, tuberculosis. When I was growing up, we had a tuberculosis hospital because people were in what they call iron lungs,
Yes.
just to be able to breathe. Now we have something that is up there in the danger level. It's called COVID-19. Yet, because we have a generation that's used to being vaccinated, whether they know it or not, or we've had herd immunity for all this time, so that they didn't get vaccinated because we basically eradicated the virus. They go, well, I don't have to take the vaccine because, and then they create these reasons why. In their mind, it's not going to affect me, but it does. I mean, it's just the way it is. So anyway, hopefully, and then other countries, Ada, here's what we found from other countries like Australia. They boarded up because we have, in about an hour, we're going to have our people from Australia show up. Okay. That when they boarded up the country, literally. And so what happens is they go, well, they never thought about buying vaccines because they didn't have COVID-19, because they didn't allow people in and out of the country and that's how they controlled the COVID-19 area. But now our friends in Australia, who I get phone calls and emails late last night, Shaquille says, I need to get out of this country. I need to travel again, but I can't get the vaccine. And it's created some problems. And same with what we're seeing in Tokyo and Japan. They boarded up their country, but now no one can go in, no one can go out.
Yeah.
It creates a problem. So, okay, before we conclude our programming, what do we see for today? What's must-watch TV? What are you going to be looking at today?
Well, there's a lot of things that I'm going to be following. I mean, today we have the medals for the men's artistic all around with China leading right now. That game is live. We also have live 3x3 basketball for women's with that just started actually with women United States leading against Russia 4-1. So that would be an interesting game to watch. Also, we have the weightlifting, which is medaling in their groups with. In the lead right now is China with the men's 73 kg, and then we have third quarter for basketball, France against Czech Republic. 3x3 basketball, I'm also watching for men's, Russia versus Latvia. And some other games that I'm watching is soccer. Japan is leading France 3-0 in the second half. But yeah, so there's a lot of things going on. Volleyball, Brazil versus Russia in the men's tournament was delayed, but it looks like it's going to be starting up later today. And I am excited, very, very excited.
Okay, well, yeah, like I said, it's going to be a very interesting day at the Olympics, and we're going to hopefully be able to watch some really good games. Like I said, I do enjoy the basketball, enjoy the volleyball, and Ada, maybe someday we'll be able to see you on the court on the Olympics. Volleyball, baby.
Very, and I mean, just in conclusion as well, we do have some toss-up in the medal tally. Yesterday, U.S. was in the lead, but now it looks like Japan, especially with that clincher in softball, has taken the lead with 12 golds, four silvers, and 5 bronzes, making that a total of 21. 21. What is it called? medals for them, being that most of their medals being in judo, with 6 golds in that, swimming and skateboarding, and also that medal in softball, which puts them over the edge. In second place for the medal tally, we have China with 11 golds, 5 silvers, and 9 bronzes, making them a total of 25 medals in total in sports, including weightlifting, where they have the most with 4 golds, shooting, and table tennis as well. And then in third place, unfortunately, we have the U.S. with 10 golds, 11 silvers, and 9 bronzes, which actually makes us have the most medals, coming up at 30 medals, but we do not have the most gold medals, which is why Japan and China are ahead of us. We have the most medals in swimming, with 4 gold medals in swimming, followed up by shooting and fencing. So, and then in fourth and fifth place, we have ROC, Russia, and Australia, both coming up with a total of 20 and 16 medals each.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and we'd like to thank our audience for watching. And later on, like I say, we'll see you on World Edition coming up, and also Investing with Sasha on the IBM TV network. In the meantime, everybody, stay tuned to the Olympics, and we will see you all tomorrow with our Olympic report.